Okay, students. Now, the next topic is variables in Java. Okay, uh, you all have learned a little bit of this one in your C language also. What is a variable is? Variable is the basic unit of storage in Java program. Okay, variable is a basic unit of storage in Java program. You all have learned this like int x equal to 10. Okay, 10 is one value which is stored in x. Okay, so x is what? A storage for the value 10 in the memory. Remember this. Okay, so x is a kind of a variable which is storing value 10 in the memory. So what is variable? Variable is nothing but basic unit of storage in Java program. Okay, so remember, a variable is defined by the combination of identifier, a type, and initializer. Okay, what do you mean by identifier, type, and option initializer? Like int x equal to 10. Okay, x is what? The identifier here, which is a variable. Int is what? The type. Okay, and 10 is what? The initializer. Okay, this is the thing. So in addition, all variables have a scope which defines their visibility and lifetime. Okay, so this will be discussing next after few things in variables. There are two small concepts of how the scope is defined with the what is the visibility of the variable, that is its scope, and lifetime. We will see that. That is very important. Many times they have asked this question in the exam. So for right now, what is variable? It is the basic units of storage in Java program. So this is the syntax you all see here. Type, identifier, which has got a value. Okay. Then you can have another identifier with another value. Okay. So I will explain this one with the example over here. You can see this is one example. Okay. So over here, int is type, D is identifier with the value as 3. Okay, E is just an identifier. Here there is no value. You can assign also. If you don't assign, no problem. So if you don't assign, that is known as only declared. The variable is only declared. Suppose if E is equals to something, it is declared and assigned. Now here the next one, F is identifier with the value as 5. So what is int? Int is type. I hope you all have understood this. So now just look at this, int a comma b comma c. Int a comma b comma c means uh, int a comma b comma c means there are three variables which are only declared, whereas over here there are three variables which are declared but d and f is initialized. Then this one, byte z equal to 22, which is initialized with the value 22. The data type is z, byte, and the identifier is z. Similarly, double pi equal to 3.14159. Double is the type, pi is the variable, that is identifier with the value as 3.1459. Over here, char x equal to x, char is the data type, x is the identifier, that is the variable, x is the value which is assigned, this one. Then comes the dynamic initialization. Okay, so what do you mean by dynamic initialization? Is the value to a particular variable will be assigned at the runtime. Okay, that is what is dynamically initialized. Like for example, over here you can see in this program, this is the comment. Okay, this is the comment. Then there is the class name, then public static void main. Then you see the double data type is the data type is double for both the variables here. The variables are a and b. So a is initialized with 3, b is initialized with 4. The next line you see there is a comment. Then below that you see double is the data type, c is a variable. But the point to notice in this particular program is c is initialized with some formula. It is not initialized with value. So when your program gets executed, at that time, this formula will be computed and the value will be assigned to C. So that is known as dynamically initialize. Okay, what is this formula? Math dot square root. Math is one predefined class. In that there is a method square root of whatever the value is provided in parameter. That is a into a plus b into b. A square plus b square. So square SQRT means square root of a square plus b square. That is square root of 3 square plus 4 square. That is under root 9 plus 16. That is under root 25. That is 5. So C will be assigned with 5. So when this will be assigned at the time of runtime. So that is why C is termed as dynamically initialized. So this is the concept of dynamic initialization. Okay, you can see here, although the preceding examples have used only constants as initializers, Java allows variables to be initialized dynamically. That is using any expression valid at the time the variable is declared. That is this one. So here it will be, here the output will be 5. Here please try to practice this program. Then the next thing is the very important thing, scope and lifetime of variables. Scope and lifetime of variables. Remember, Java allows variables to be declared within any block, as we have seen in chapter 2 with a block. A block is begun with an opening curly brace and ended by closing curly brace. I have explained in the last class also. That is Java block of code. There I have explained this. What is a block? Block defines a scope. So thus each time you start a new block, what is happening? You are creating a new scope. So a scope determines what objects are visible to other parts of your program. That is one point to remember. The second one is it also determines the lifetime of those objects. Okay, so these 2 points we will see with the program now. See again, just read out what a scope will do. A scope determines what objects are visible to other parts of your program. It also determines the lifetime of those objects. So first we will see what are visible to other parts of your program. Then next we will see the lifetime. So now this is the program you are going to see. What I'll do is I have already copied this in a notepad and I will execute and I will show you all. Okay, now we will see the execution of this particular program, what I have shown you over here, demonstration of scope. First, I will clear my screen. Now you all see here, I'm going to run the program, compile the program, that is scope.java. Before pressing enter, you all please observe here, there is only scope.java. After compile, you will able to see scope.class also. I'm pressing enter now. See, you see here, after it is compiled, it has generated scope.class. Now from here, you will get the output. Okay, that is from .class file, Java space scope. Now you all observe here, X and Y are 10 and 20, X is 40. Okay, now, first of all, I will explain the program. Then the point to note here is this part. This is the thing, that is the scope demonstration is with this line. I will explain that, don't worry. See here, first of all, over here, after public static void main, there is one X variable. There is one X variable, which is initialized with X as 10. Then you see here, there is one code. I will provide lines also. Display line numbers. So you see the line number 6, it has got if condition X double equal to 10. It is comparing X value with 10. So X is 10, 10 double equal to 10. That is true. So if that is true, it will evaluate the line number from 7 to 12 means you can see at line 7 there is opening curly brace and at line number 12 there is opening curly brace. So what is this? This is a scope. Remember this. This is a scope. As I said in the last class, block of code, that is between the opening curly brace and closing curly brace, that is from line number 7 till line number 13. Now I have pressed enter, that's why. So between the line number 7 and line number 13, whatever is there, that is a block of code, or you can say as scope. So if condition is true, then only it will come inside this scope. So now inside this scope, you see there is one variable y equal to 20. Okay. Now what is the next thing is line number 10 is a command. Line number 11 will be evaluated. You see x and y. You will be seeing this in this place x. You will see 10. Okay, you can see this 10 here. Then in this place you can see the output 20. I hope you all have understood this. Then after that there is one variable x equal to, that is y into 2. What is y into 2? 20 into 2, that is 40. So x will become 40 over here. Now after the scope is finished, it will come at line number 14, that is a comment. It will come at line number 15, that is also a comment. It will ignore it. Then you see here line number 6. So it will print something. So what it is printing from here, the updated value of x. So updated value of x is 40. Okay, I hope you all have understood. Now the next thing what I'm going to do is this very important now. Now it is very important. See here at line number 14, I'm removing the comment. I have removed the comment at line number 14. Now, as I have done some changes, what I need to do is I need to compile the program again. Remember, whenever you are going to do any changes in your program, you have to compile the program again. Press enter. Now you see, this is the output you have to understand. What is the output it is showing you? It is showing you that there is an error. What is the error? You see scope.java 14th line, that is error, cannot find symbol. So what is that error, cannot find symbol? That is y equal to 100. So you see here y equal to 100, error y not known here. So see here, this is the error it is showing you. Y equal to 100, error y not known over here. So please concentrate very well over here what I'm going to explain now. Why it is mentioning y not known over here? Okay, why not known over here? Why? Because this is the scope at line number 7 till 13. This is the scope. Inside the scope, y is declared and initialized. So remember, if any variable is declared and initialized in a scope, so it will be available in that scope only. Suppose if you want to assign some value to that variable outside the scope, then that is wrong. I hope you all have understood. So this is what is the concept of scope of the variable. The variable which is declared and initialized in a scope will be available to that scope only. It will not be available outside the scope. That is the point to remember. I hope you all have understood. Okay, anyone having doubt in this can ask me. Okay, then the next thing is, next after this program, see what I've explained over here. Just read out from the textbook. As comments indicate, this comment indicate the variable. Sorry, not that one. I want to explain about this one. See here, within the if block, y is declared. Since a block since a block defines a scope, y is only visible to other code within its block only. Remember, y is only visible to other code within its block only. Means between these two braces only it will be known. Remember. So this is why outside of its block, the line y equal to 100 is commented out. If you remove the leading comment symbol, a compile time error will occur because y is not visible outside of its block. Remember this thing. Okay, then that's it for this one. Now there is one protocol to be followed. See here the comment what it is giving, this fragment is wrong. Means what is happening in between these two lines of code? First the variable is initialized, then it is assigned with the data type. So this is wrong. Will give you an error. Okay, first the thing is this line, then this line. This is first, then this is second. What is the rule is, first you have to declare the variable with the data type, then you have to assign. I hope you all have understood. The next concept is the lifetime of a variable. As I said, the two things from here. A block defines a scope. Thus, each time you start a new block, you are creating a new scope. There are two things. A scope determines what objects are visible to other parts of your program, and the next, which I have explained now with the program. The next thing is it also determines the lifetime of those objects. So we will see that with this program. Okay, I'm not going to execute this. You will understand with the output because the output is also there in the textbook. So see here, another point is to remember variables are declared when their scope is entered and destroyed when their scope is left. Okay, this is the point to observe here. Please try to read it. Variables are created when their scope is entered and destroyed when their scope is left. Okay, read again. Variables are created when their scope is entered and destroyed when their scope is left. So see here, observe with this program. Variables are created when their scope is entered, remember, and destroyed when their scope is left. That is the point to see here. See here, over here after public static void main, there is one variable declared x, which is used in this for loop. X equal to 0, x less than 3, x plus plus. So x equal to 0, condition 0 less than 3, that is true. So now, because that is true, this is the scope which will be evaluated. Okay, between this opening curly brace and between this closing curly brace. So students, now this is a new scope. Now you all please try to remember, in this new scope there is a variable created with the value as y equal to -1. Now you are going to print that y. So observe here, y is -1. Then next line y equal to 100. Now y is 100. As I said above, the line which I've made you to read 3 times, variables are created when their scope is entered. Okay, so by this you can see variable has created when the scope is entered. The next point is variables are destroyed when they're when by moving out of the scope. So now you all see here, this is finished, this is finished. So after this closing, it will come back here, x plus plus means x will become 1. So that is x is 1. So what is now 1 is less than 3. So now you all please observe, then again the variable will be created. So why now it is -1? Because it was destroyed after it moved out of the scope. Okay, I hope you all have understood this. Means for the first x equal to 0, it displayed the last value as 100 here. Then it moved out, y is destroyed now. Okay, now x1, 1 less than 3. So a new value is created with y. So this is the lifetime of a variable. Okay, students, one last point in this lifetime, scope and lifetime. Remember here, all the blocks can be nested. Means in one block you can have another block. Like in public static void main, see here, See, from here till here, this is one block. No? I will explain you here. See, from line number 2, just a minute. Yeah, from line number 2 to line number 9, whatever is there, that is one scope. Then line number 5 till line number 9, that is another scope. Then line number 9 till line number 15, that is another scope. Means a scope can have another scope, or a block can have another block. But now point to remember, or point to observe, is that you cannot declare a variable to have the same name as one in outer scope. Like you all see here, this is a scope error program. No, I have got the program. I will show you in my notepad only. See here. I'll provide the line numbers also. So see here, inside this line number 4 till 10, you have till 11, sorry, till 11, you have got one at line number 5, one variable with bar equal to 1. Then again, you have got one more scope or block. In that, you have got one more variable with bar equal to 2. So this is wrong thing. Will give you a compile time error if you compile this program. Why it is? The concept of this one is, suppose there is a variable with some value and you are creating after it another scope. In that another scope, you cannot have the same variable with the same name. That is another variable with the same name. So that is wrong, which will give you a compile time error. So this is the point to remember. I hope you all have understood this. Okay, next topic is type conversion and casting. Okay, the next topic to be continued is type conversion and casting. Okay, anyone any doubt till here can ask me.